folks, Crazy Cajun here, and today I've decided to bring y'all some mini crawfish pies. I know y'all probably been waiting for a good old crawfish dish. I'm going to use some of these because I don't live on the Gulf anymore. I can't get the fresh crawfish or the fresh shrimp or the fresh seafood. I just bought some Bernard's crawfish tails at the local store, and I'm going to use these pre-made ready to bake crust, but I'm not going to make a full-on big pie. I'm going to cut it into some smaller pie crust to make miniature pies. Some of the ingredients I'm going to use is paprika, a little cayenne pepper to flare it up or fire it up, garlic powder, parsley flakes, onion powder. I'm going to do some, I personally like to add cream of mushroom soup in a lot of my dishes, some Old Bay seasonings, and some liquid crab oil. Again, a little more heat. Got to get that good old Cajun flavors. And in this bowl, I've already diced up half an onion, half a bell pepper, 1 celery stalk, and 2 toes of garlic. I'm also going to use some chicken broth and some half and half. I was gonna do heavy whipping cream, but it's like twice the cost and less the product. So between the half and half, save some money, more product, and the cream of mushroom soup, I'll have a good consistency that I'm looking for. But the initial thing that I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna cut these bags open, and I'm gonna put these crawfish tails in my colander to rinse them up really good, because I don't like that saturated fat that they sitting in. I don't like a real fishy taste. So if you don't like a fishy taste, you want to rinse your bags at least twice. And while that's sitting, I'm going to go ahead and make what's called a roux. My measurement that I'm using is a 1/4 cup of flour, all-purpose flour, and a 1/4 cup of real butter, which is basically a half a stick of butter. And so what I'll do, I'll get this melted up and add that flour and constantly stir on a low to medium fire. It's called constant stir because you don't want it to burn, and you're gonna look for a rich caramel color. The longer you cook it, the darker it becomes, so you want like a caramel color. So that's what we're gonna start with. Okay, come on in for a second. I have my fire on 4. I told you low to medium. I've melted the butter. First thing you want to do is melt the butter. Then you want to add your flour a little bit at a time because you don't want it to be real clumpy. So when making the roux, low and slow. Slow's the key. And once it's all added, it's okay if it gets thick because you want it to get thick. And you'll just keep stirring it until you get that caramel color that we spoke about. See, it's just blended in nice and good. You don't want it real lumpy. Just add a little bit at a time gradually. So I want you to see, and now it takes patience. You want to go low and slow. See how it's getting that good caramel color? I don't want it to go for myself much darker. I'm going with a light caramel. So now what you do, you want to add your seasonings. Listen at them frying up. Oh my gosh. And keep the fire at the same. I'm keeping my fire on a number 4. And just look, you just want to blend it in. And you see how it's blending and it gets everything coated. You hear that sizzle? That's okay. That's what you're looking for. And you're just going to keep stirring it and just stir it for a while. And when the seasoning starts to get what I call limp, like almost see-through, they're kind of like, limp. Then I'll go ahead and add my cream of mushroom soup at that time. So come and see. I added my can of cream of mushroom soup and see how everything's blending good. I've been cooking it on number 4 for, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes, give or take, might be 10. So now I'm gonna add, I think I'm gonna do a half a cup of chicken broth because I didn't tell you I'm measuring it before because I wasn't sure. And I'm gonna let that cook for a little bit and get that blended good. And then I'll go ahead and add probably the same measurement, a half a cup of half and half. So it doesn't look cohesive right now because it has to really cook and blend as the heat gets through it. But once it does, I promise you, it'll be good and creamy. I went ahead and added my half and half, and I've just been letting it cook on number 4 and stirring often. And you see how good and thick and blended and creamy. So now it's at the point that I can add the good stuff. The good stuff, the meat, the crawfish tails. Now, I've actually rinsed them 3 times because, like I said earlier, I don't like a fishy taste. Some people do, but this chick doesn't. So, let's get this 2 pounds. Oh my gosh. That's a lot of crawfish, people. We might be making another dish with the rest if we have excess. Woo, girl. Woo, guy. Oh, my folks, this is going to be some yummy good stuff. So now that I've blended it up, what I want to do is I want to add 1 capful, or maybe, yeah, 1 capful, because I'm going to do cayenne. 1 capful of this liquid crab ball. So we'll go ahead. I probably would have did 2 if I wasn't adding all that other stuff, but we'll go ahead and get that added in. Just a good measurement. We'll go ahead right now. Old Bay seafood seasoning. It says it's for crab, shrimp, chicken, but all in all, it's got a good flavor. We'll just kind of shake it all over. Woo, smell like wonderful, wonderful smells. And still cooking on 4. Still stirring often. And we'll get that blended up, and then I'll add some of the other spices. Let's go ahead and let this cook for about maybe 2-3 minutes. And that way those flavors can soak in. And then we'll add some of the other spices. This has been cooking a couple minutes, as I said. You can see. And if it's too thick, if it seems a little too thick, I might add a little more half and half. But we'll see as it goes. So now I'm going to just add and sprinkle a little of these spices. This is onion powder. All right, and get that put away. Let's do that cayenne. Woohoo! That should be enough. We don't want it too fiery. Some of us can't handle the heat. So a little parsley. Got to get that green color here. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Garlic, because who doesn't like garlic? Garlic is just so good for you too. And I've just recently gotten in the habit of putting paprika in all kinds of stuff. I even put paprika on my bacon. You might be like, what? I'm going to save this Old Bay's out just in case I need to add a little more in. I'm going to blend this up. And then, because the crawfish are pre-cooked, and because they've been cooking just a little bit, oh my gosh, look at that goodness. I am going to give it a little taste here and see if I need to add a little more of this Old Bay's. Let me grab me a little spoon. Let me see. Try and just get the, let's see. A little pinch more, not too much. I taste the heat, but that should be perfect because we don't want too much fire. So I just added those Old Bay's, but I decided not to add salt. I decided not to add Slap Your Mama. I decided not to add Tony's. And the reason being, if you recall, I have a half a cup of chicken broth and I have a can of cream of mushroom soup. All of that has sodium in it. And I don't want to make it too much salt, too much sodium tasting. So for your preference, if you choose to add salt, go for it, or Tony's or Slap Your Mama. But I think this dish is going to come out good just like it is. Come see how it's starting to bubble. And again, the fire's been on 4. Look at how it's starting to bubble. Let's give it a good old turn. And what we're going to do, we're going to probably let this cook, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 more minutes. I'm going to set my hot oven to bake at 375 and get it preheated. And as we prepare the pie crust, that'll be good and hot, and then we'll go ahead and get that baking. So what I did, I went ahead and turned my fire off, or like someone in my family pointed out, you don't have fire, you got heat, because it's an electric stove. But I turned it off and let it, oh my gosh, look at that. Let it sit while I got the pie crust ready. Now, I have said before, I am not the neatest, I am messy. So I took those 2 individual 9-inch pie crusts. Wait a minute, have you heard the phrase, the good, the bad, and the ugly? Messy, the ugly. Anyway, just thought of that. Crazy Cajun here. I took that and this is one of my lids for my bowls. I kind of just measured and then made an indentation and used my knife to cut around. And it looks like I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of the 2 with a little extra that this is going to be my little miniature taster. And so now we'll start filling them and see what we get. So sometimes you have to improvise. I started out with these mini crawfish pies, and I was doing them where I was going to fold them like a handheld. And then I was like, oh, that's too much stuff and it's going to blow up. Then I said, well, I took those circles and I put the stuff in and put another circle on top and made it a little bigger. Like, not too bad. It's better than the first one. So I would have continued with that more than likely, except I ran out of stuff. So since I had to go back to the store and I still had a lot of filling, I just went ahead and got a pre-made big pie crust and then the pie shell that you roll out and put on top and just made a big one. So here's the reveal. Ba-bam! So this is the miniature one I was talking about. And this is the size that I think would have really been ideal. And then this is what I've done with the leftovers. So all in all, I think it's a success. Trial and error, the good, bad, the ugly. Live and learn, whatever coin phrase you want to use. But this will still be good eating. So as always, more to come. See you soon.